Leaders recognize the qualities that are needed for explosive growth. People often ask me, how can I recognize a potential leader? What do I look for? When I hear leaders ask that, I get excited because I know they're starting to think in terms of multiplication instead of simple addition. They want to lead leaders and not just gain followers. Over the years, I've taught a lot of different lessons on this subject because I'm constantly exploring it. And it's a subject that we will be revisiting among successful leaders as well. I'd like to go over 4 images or 4 stories that characterize a leader, and we can use them to measure we live up to potential leaders that we desire to develop. So a good leader needs the following. Number 1, a teacher. The first and most important quality of a leader is the ability to teach and develop other leaders. That is the secret to explosive growth. If you desire to be an explosive growth leader, you must be willing to share your knowledge, authority, and experience. And you must wisely select potential leaders who are loyal, who are faithful, and capable of carrying on the value of leadership development in others. Those that have the ability to teach others, to serve others, that have the kind of mentality that I want for you to be better than me someday. My role is to prepare you to surpass me, but along the way, I will continue to push the boundaries and also grow. Because as a leader, we have to set that type of example. If you are not growing, I'm willing to bet that your team is not growing either. Second, a soldier. A good leader should be like a soldier. A soldier in what regards? In many things. Have the traits that you are committed to the goal and the objective. And you also have to be resilient, because after the good times come bad times. After the bad times come good times. That is the cycle of life. You have to be resilient no matter what. When a challenge comes along the way, the first thing that I try to be conscious and think about is, thank you, baby Jesus, we have a challenge. After this, I know it's going to be even better. We have a crisis. After a crisis is an awesome situation. It can only get better. First, soldiers are focused on the priority of their work. They don't entangle themselves in affairs or other activities that will distract them from the battle that they are fighting for. Right? If you think about it, a soldier in a battlefield fighting for their life, do you think they have time to distract themselves with what's this celebrity saying in the headlines today? What's the scandal going on in the media? They can't focus on things like that because it is a life or death situation. It is not healthy to live your life as if you are in a life and death situation every single time. Let's make that clear. But there are moments that you have to channel that type of hyper focus. Know when those moments are and apply the type of energy appropriately. The second quality is the desire to build a team and hit goals. This implies a deep loyalty and a willingness to sacrifice. You've got your day-to-day schedule that you are assigned. Stick with that. You may have to sacrifice in the work that we do because you're going to need to learn some new things. You may need to sacrifice because everybody has ego. That's why it's called ego. It stands for everybody's got one. We all have that. Find me a person and I can identify that. What are the ego traits that are exhibited? We all have that. When we talk about the willingness to sacrifice, I'm talking about the willingness to put aside your ego, to be humble to ask questions, to be humble to talk to your team. Before you start stumbling and making mistakes, learn to bring the situation or task to your team members because they can show you how to do it. Some people will say, oh, I don't want to inconvenience them. Or are you just being too shy? Are you taking away the opportunity for them to serve, to be a leader, to help? Because one of the criteria in our training program is that you have the ability to teach. How can these people teach if you don't give them that opportunity? Bring the questions to the table. Bring the challenges to the table. If you don't want to appear lacking, then bring your problem to the table, but bring some possible solutions so that you've thought about it. That way you don't look like a slacker, so you can come to the table prepared. Just get the acknowledgement of your team leaders. That's why one of the leaders that I've looked up before, Lynn Fitzgerald, who serves as a consultant with one of the companies that I admire. The company is called Enjoy. It's a leadership development company that caters to a global audience. He calls the United States military the greatest leadership training in the world because you would know. They train you to be a person for others. You learn protocols, you follow a system. And it's within that system that you can apply yourself to achieve excellence. Third type of personality trait a leader should be like is like an athlete. You don't have to play professional sports to call yourself an athlete. A good leader is like a willing athlete because if anyone competes or even joins in athletics, and I think all of us have passed through a PE class at some point in our life, you don't win unless you compete according to rules. The two characteristics that you're highlighting here is integrity and discipline. Integrity to do the work that you were assigned to the best of your ability. Integrity to be humble enough to ask questions. The discipline to complete your work in a timely manner. People without integrity don't play by the rules. They don't follow protocol. They do things their own way. And this is okay up to a certain point, but this won't get you far in life. People without discipline can't win by the rules. It takes both qualities. It's such a pervasive, prevalent, dominant culture or popular culture nowadays that tells us to win at all costs, regardless of the rules, or following basic courtesy and grace. Yet some people don't even know the meaning or the application or the purpose of having a conscience. That's how distorted our value system has become in our today's society. But nothing is more important in a potential leader that you are considering developing rather than integrity. Discipline will guard a person's integrity and make it possible for him to keep growing, keep competing, and to keep winning. Lastly, a farmer. Good leadership can be seen among our farming community because of the hard work and ethic that they put into their lives. Farmers are up before the sun. They work until they are exhausted, and they live at the mercy of seasons. Farmers are patient. There's no instant gratification when you work the land. Farmers work, then they wait. If you can find potential leaders with a farmer's patience and a farmer's work ethic, you've got people with the right attitude to go far as leaders. Leadership is difficult. Leading leaders is even more difficult. That's why it's important for you to be the kind of leader that I described today, and for you to be on the lookout for the types of qualities that a leader should have. Because if these are the qualities of the people around you, then that's a good sign for you to build a team that you can depend on and rely on. If they are unable to lead and be effective on their own, you will never be able to achieve explosive growth.